This is number seven podcast.
Number 7 podcast.
Hey everyone, and welcome back to the number 7 podcast channel. We're diving into a world where things get a little spooky. In Harley Laroux's Her Soul to Take, it's a wild ride through paranormal investigations, demonic encounters, and ancient secrets. So we start in this creepy town. It's called Avalon, and we meet Raylan, this young paranormal investigator who's back in her hometown. She's got a camera. She's totally obsessed with the supernatural. Like, she really wants to make her ghost hunting vlog like a huge thing. She's chasing all these ghosts, hoping to catch a glimpse of, the other side. But Avalon, well, it's got way more terrifying secrets than she could ever imagine. Right away in chapter 1, Raylan finds this ancient grimoire. It's in a local bookstore, and it's not just any old book. This thing is packed with spells and rituals, even one for summoning a demon. They call it the Killer. Yeah, the kind of stuff that gives you chills, right?
Okay.
Raylan can't resist the grimoire's power. It's like this dangerous curiosity. You know, the kind that always leads to trouble. As Raylan settles back into Avalon, she reconnects with her friend Inaya. Inaya runs the bookstore where the grimoire was found, and she knows all about Raylan's paranormal obsession. They have this close bond, which is good because things are about to get really dark. We learn about Avalon's tragic past, like this devastating mine collapse back in 1899. It was horrific. Only 3 out of 40 miners survived. Local legends say that trapped miners resorted to cannibalism, and there are whispers of a dark entity lurking in the flooded mine shafts. It's all pretty creepy foreshadowing, right? Like something sinister is hiding beneath the town's peaceful surface. And then in chapter 2, we meet Leon. He's a new security guard at the university Raylan's attending. And he's super mysterious and attractive, too. Their first encounters are intense. Leon's kind of aloof and menacing. He even warns Raylan about being too curious. But there's this undeniable spark between them. Raylan's totally captivated by Leon. Oh, and to make things even creepier, there's news of a recent murder on campus. Definitely adds to the whole unsettling vibe of Abilene, It's clear that this town has way more secrets than it's letting on. And Raylan, well, she's determined to uncover them. In chapter 3, Raylan meets the Hadley siblings. There's Jeremiah, Kent, Victoria, and their younger sister, Everly. They're all very wealthy and influential. Raylan gets drawn into their circle pretty quickly. And during a conversation about the paranormal, Victoria reveals that her family has deep roots in Avalon. It makes you wonder what secrets the Hadleys might be hiding. Chapter 4 focuses on Raylan's growing fascination with Leon. Even though he can be rude and dismissive, she can't help but be drawn to him. It's that classic push and pull, hostility mixed with attraction. One night, Raylan decides to check out St. Thaddeus Church. It's this abandoned church that's supposed to be haunted. But instead of finding ghosts, she experiences something really strange. There's absolutely no paranormal energy there. It's like this eerie emptiness that freaks her out. And that's where the story takes a really dark turn. In chapter 5, Raylan's investigation at the church gets dangerous. She tries to film a demon-summoning ritual for her vlog, using that grimoire she found, of course. But suddenly, this shadowy figure shows up and interrupts her. It's Leon, and he is furious. He yells at Raylan for messing with forces she doesn't understand. But just as things are getting really tense, this horrifying creature bursts into the church. It's an Eldunge, this grotesque monster that wants blood. Leon jumps in to protect Raylan, and their confrontation turns into a fight for survival. It's terrifying, and it leaves us wondering about Leon's true motives and how he's connected to all this supernatural stuff happening. Chapter 6 drops a bombshell. Leon is the demon Raylan accidentally summoned. Remember that ritual she tried at the church? Yeah, it worked. And now he's bound to her. He's torn between his demonic nature and his growing fascination with Raylan. Meanwhile, Raylan is trying to wrap her head around everything that's happened. She's scared of Leon, but also drawn to his power. Their relationship becomes this dangerous dance, a balance between fear and attraction, as Leon tries to protect her from the growing supernatural threats in Avalon. In Chapter 7, Raylan faces a series of terrifying encounters. The Eld and other creatures are lurking in the woods around her cabin. Leon has to protect her, and he ends up revealing his true demonic form. Raylan sees just how powerful he is. But his protection comes with a price. He wants Raylan's soul in exchange for keeping her safe. It's a terrifying dilemma. Her safety versus her soul. What would you choose? Chapter 8 dives deeper into Raylan and Leon's complicated relationship. He continues to protect her, and their connection intensifies. It blurs the lines between fear, desire, and a strange kind of trust. We learn more about Leon's past, his time in hell, and his relationships with other demons, especially Zane. He seems to know more about what's going on in Avalon than he's letting on. Despite the growing intimacy between them, Raylan is hesitant to give Leon her soul. It's a huge gamble with eternal consequences. Then Chapter 9 throws another twist into the story. Raylan starts investigating the Hadley family. and she uncovers evidence suggesting they're part of this secret group. They're called the Liberia, and rumor has it they worship an ancient entity, the Deep One. This entity demands sacrifices and obedience. Leon warns Raylan about the Liberia. He says they're a power-hungry cult, and that the Hadleys are key players. He urges her to stay away, but Raylan is too curious. She wants to know the truth. So she decides to investigate the Hadleys further, despite Leon's warnings. Sometimes wanting to know too much can be dangerous, right? In Chapter 10, Raylan goes to a Halloween party at the Hadleys' mansion. She's hoping to gather information about the Liberia, but things get complicated when Leon shows up. He's watching her every move. There's definitely tension between them. At the party, Raylan meets this mysterious woman named Sam. But later, we find out her real name is Juniper Kynes, and she's a survivor of a previous lemur sacrifice. She hates Leon and the Hadleys and blames them for what she went through. Her presence just adds another layer of intrigue to the whole story. As the party goes on, Raylan's investigation leads her to Kent Hadley's private study, and she finds a secret room. It's full of artifacts and occult objects. It confirms her suspicions about the Hadleys and their involvement with dark magic. But Leon catches her. He warns her about the danger of snooping around. He knows how dark the Hadleys really are, and he's trying to protect her. But Raylan won't back down. She's more determined than ever to uncover the truth about the Liberia and stop them from carrying out their terrifying plans. We'll be back with Part 2 to explore the twists and turns that lie ahead. Until then, if you're enjoying this dive into her soul to take, hit that like button, share it with your friends, and subscribe to the Number 7 podcast channel for more thrilling stories. Okay, so Chapter 11 picks up right where we left off. It's a showdown in Kent Hadley's secret room. Leon, Juniper, and Zane are all there. And things get intense. Juniper wants revenge, and she threatens to tell Raylan the truth about Leon. But Zane, well, he throws a curveball. He's made a deal with Juniper to help her get her revenge. It makes you wonder who's really on whose side. In the middle of all this chaos, Leon agrees to help Raylan find a weapon. He knows she needs to be able to protect herself. He takes her to a secret armory in the Hadley mansion. It's full of all sorts of dangerous stuff. And here's where we see a different side of Leon. He reveals that he's vulnerable to certain types of magic. It makes him seem a little less demonic, a little more human, Raylan finds this creepy knife. It's pulsing with dark magic. Leon warns her about it.
But she can sense its power, and she takes it. I think this is a turning point for Raylan. She's not just running anymore. She's ready to fight back. Chapter 12 brings us face-to-face with Kent Hadley. He finally reveals his true colors. He's the leader of the Liberia, and he's been pulling the strings all along. His goal is to appease the Deep One, and he's chosen Raylan as the sacrifice. He thinks her connection to Leon makes her the perfect offering. It's a pretty horrifying realization. Just as Kent's about to put his plan into action, Leon steps in. He defies Kent and declares that he's going to protect Raylan. It's a big moment for Leon. He's choosing Raylan over everything else. Chapter 13 is a wild escape scene. Leon and Raylan flee the Hadley mansion, but the Liberias are after them. They've got these monstrous creatures on their side. It's a desperate fight for survival. Leon is getting weaker. He's injured, but he keeps fighting. He puts Raylan's safety above his own. It shows just how much he cares for her. They find a moment of peace in Chapter 14. They hide out in a motel room. It's a chance for them to breathe and to connect, but of course the danger isn't over.
The Liberia track them down, and things go from bad to worse. In Chapter 15, Raylan is kidnapped. They drug her and take her away from Leon. She wakes up in a dark place, all alone. It's a nightmare. Meanwhile, Leon is frantic. He teams up with Zane and Juniper to find Raylan and rescue her. It's an unlikely alliance, but they're all desperate to save her. Chapter 16 takes us to the Liberia's lair. It's this underground cavern, and it's the home of the Deep One. We see just how far the Liberia are willing to go. They're preparing Raylan for a ritual sacrifice. The whole atmosphere is heavy with dread. Leon, Zane, and Juniper are racing against time to find Raylan. They have to fight their way through these treacherous tunnels and face off against all sorts of horrifying creatures. Chapter 17 is all about Raylan's strength. She's trapped. But she doesn't give up. She tries to escape. She faces her fears head on. It's pretty inspiring. Finally, Leon, Zane, and Juniper reach the cavern, but they're met with fierce resistance. A huge battle breaks out. It's chaos. In the middle of all this, Raylan comes face to face with the Deep One. This is a grotesque abomination, the stuff of nightmares.
Raylan remembers what Leon said about offering him her soul. And in a desperate attempt to escape the Deep One, she uses the knife she took from the armory to carve Leon's demonic sigil onto her own skin. She's offering him her soul. It's a huge gamble, but she's willing to risk it all. Chapter 18 shifts to Leon's point of view. He's fighting his way through the Klaxon Cavern, determined to save Raylan. He loves her, and that love is what drives him. He confronts Jeremiah, who's been completely corrupted by the Deep One. Their fight is brutal, but Leon is fueled by his love for Raylan, In a selfless act of sacrifice, Leon uses the last of his strength to defeat Jeremiah. He makes sure Raylan is safe, even if it means his own demise. Chapter 19 is the climax. Raylan sees Leon's sacrifice, and she's heartbroken. She thinks she's lost him. But just as she's about to give in to the Deep One, she feels this pull, this connection to Leon. Their bond is so strong, it guides her back to the surface. And guess what? Leon is alive. Their reunion is intense. It's full of joy and relief, but also the weight of everything they've been through. Chapter 20 deals with the aftermath. Leon is weak but alive. He wants to make sure the Hadleys can't hurt anyone else. He confronts the remaining members of the Laroux and brings them to justice. His actions are harsh, but they're driven by his love for Raylan. Raylan starts to heal from her trauma. She has Anaya. Their friendship is a source of comfort and strength. She's been through so much, but she comes out of it stronger. The chapter ends with a sense of closure. Raylan and Leon have found a love that defies all odds. It gives you hope. And in the epilogue, we get a glimpse into their future. Raylan and Leon leave Avalon behind. They head to this cute little coastal town, trying to escape the shadows of their past. It's like a fresh start. Raylan's doing great in her new home. She's turned her paranormal experiences into a successful writing career. Her stories are resonating with people. And Leon, he's embracing his freedom. He's no longer bound to anyone. And he's exploring the human world, enjoying all the simple things. The relationship is still going strong. They've been through so much together. Their bond is unbreakable. But, there's always that lingering feeling that something could go wrong. The epilogue reminds us that evil never really goes away, and their past might come back to haunt them. It leaves you wondering, what's next for Raylan and Leon? What other challenges will they face? Her Soul to Take is a roller coaster of emotions. It's a story that stays with you. Harley Laroux did an amazing job creating a world that's both familiar and terrifying. So if you're looking for a book that will keep you up all night, a story that blends romance, danger, and the supernatural, then you should definitely check out Her Soul to Take. If you enjoyed this deep dive, let us know in the comments below, and tell us what other books you'd like us to explore. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the Number 7 podcast channel for more thrilling stories. Thanks for joining us, and until next time, happy reading.